Tales of the Underworld came out yesterday for May 4th. We got 3 new shorts about Asajj Ventress and 3 about Cad Bane, and they were fine. Neither set really blew me away, even if they did still do some stuff I enjoyed. Starting with the Asajj episodes, I was immediately impressed and happy to see the events of Dark Disciple addressed. Everything starts on Dathomir, and we see the ending of the book, which might be a surprise to people who haven't read it, because Asajj is just dead and Quinlan Vos is in love with her, and I guess the power of his love allows for some Night Sister magic to bring Ventress back. I don't fully buy that as an excuse for her survival, but I have to admit it's no less flimsy than Maul surviving being cut in half simply because he was too mad. And there are a lot of similarities to be made between the two characters. Both are from Dathomir, both were Sith apprentices, both cast aside by their masters and thought to be dead only to return later. Maul is never able to let go of his anger and hatred, and now the question becomes, what will Asajj do with her second lease on life? I'm all for exploring her character further, but right now I'm still a little frustrated at Star Wars resurrecting another character that was definitely meant to die. Between the Bad Batch and Tales of the Underworld, so far I'm not sure it was worth undoing that story, but I also think we're gearing up for more Asajj stories in the future. She seems like a good fit for Maul Shadowlord. She'll be around during that time period, and her being a mirror to Maul in many ways, it could be fun to have her around. I felt all these same frustrated feelings when they brought Maul back in the Clone Wars, and I wound up loving what they've done with him. I hope more Asajj stories will make me feel the same way. I'm just not there yet. It doesn't help that Asajj's episodes didn't feel like a full conclusion. To me, it seemed like a bit of a bridge to whatever comes next for her. She is introduced to the concept of the path and seeks it out with her new friend Lyko because she hears Quinlan Vos had a hand in establishing it. They fight their way to reach the path, and then Asajj decides that's not where she belongs, at least not yet. I don't think she feels she deserves a spot in the path after everything she did during the Clone Wars. Maybe she wants to seek further atonement, and if that's what we're setting up for her future, I am all for that. Usually, when we see some level of redemption in Star Wars, it's followed by immediate death. That's exactly what happened to Asajj in Dark Disciple. We don't get to explore atonement nearly as much. We got it with Crosshair in the Bad Batch, and I'd love to see it with Asajj in the future, and I would love to see some storytelling surrounding the path in Maul Shadowlord. I'm talking a lot about my personal nerd baggage and the potential future, but as for the episodes themselves, I did really like Asajj and her relationship with Lyko. The two of them were funny together right off the bat, with Lyko accidentally calling her old and being frustratingly, obviously a Jedi, lamenting the loss of life around bounty hunters, when all they wanted was a higher payday for bringing in a living captive. The action was also great. I especially liked the Star Destroyer shield generator heist and escaping in it like it was a giant hamster ball. That was really fun. I found myself a little more invested in the Cad Bane episodes because I think they had a more clearly defined story to tell. I didn't necessarily need to know his origin story, but I'm glad they didn't make him a sympathetic villain. We saw him making the wrong choices again and again, seeking riches and revenge. I can certainly sympathize with his upbringing as an orphan, but Nero went through the same experiences and came out the other side wanting to help his community instead of simply helping himself. I enjoyed the setting of the planet that felt even more like space New York than Coruscant does. I'm curious if that was the planet Duros, just because there were so many Duros around. And I enjoyed the blending of the Western genre with gangster films like The Untouchables. I liked seeing the corrupting nature of the underworld and how vulnerable the young and defenseless are. I think we're led to believe Nero and Colby are simply orphans with no support system. The people around them view it as disgusting and not sad. Other children are rushed away from them while they simply try to survive on literal garbage. Shopkeepers rush them away from their store. Their only options seem to be joining up with criminals or being arrested, and Nero's life takes a turn for the better when he's caught by the law in these episodes, but I don't think we would see that same brighter outcome in the real world. Colby changes his name to Cad Bane and allies himself with Laszlo, the man I guess he views as a savior and father figure, when in reality, Laszlo wouldn't hesitate to leave Cad behind. If Colby had been arrested instead of Nero, it's not like Laszlo would have acted differently, but Cad shows such intense loyalty to the man that when his mentor is killed, he seeks out revenge. He pushes away his girlfriend and alienates Nero even further because he demands blood for Laszlo, who probably wouldn't have thought twice if Cad were shot down. In the end, he loses everyone that cared about or could have potentially cared about him. His girlfriend passes away while he's in prison after marrying Nero, then Cad shoots Nero and learns too late that his old friend was raising his son, so he also ruins the possibility of having a family. I think it's interesting that Asajj starts her episodes with no one. She has lost all of the Night Sisters and Quinlan, and the Separatists are all gone, and yet she winds up with Lyco as her new found family. Cad Bane starts with friendship and he finds love, but he pushes it all away because of his allegiance to the Underworld. Which, considering this was all an origin story, wasn't exactly surprising. We knew where he would end up. But the Tales of series have never really dropped huge revelations. They're explorations into some familiar characters, and so far, every time we've had one light side story and one dark side. Ahsoka and Dooku, two Jedi who left the Order, but one finds her way back, while one continues on the dark path. Morgan Elsbeth and Barriss Offee lose themselves and join the Empire. One stays and one leaves. And now Asajj and Cad Bane, two people who are caught up in the Underworld. One finds her way out, and one turns his back on everyone and everything to stay. But yeah, these episodes didn't do a ton for me, and I actually also wonder if I would have enjoyed them more if they hadn't come out right now. A lot is going on as a Star Wars fan and completionist. We just had Star Wars Celebration, Revenge of the Sith was re-released, we're in the middle of Andor, it's May 4th, I just finished reading Into the Light, and A Valiant Vow and Wayseeker are both coming out tomorrow, and that's not including the comics. It has been a struggle to keep up, which means it's also a struggle to just sit back and enjoy everything the way I would normally. But that's more of a me problem. Not everyone attempts to watch and read and talk about everything that comes out. I'm glad we seem to be setting up a tradition of releasing the Tales of series on May the 4th. They're short and they're easy to digest, and while they're not the most exciting Star Wars stories out there, I'm certainly not upset that they exist. So let me know what you thought of Tales of the Underworld in the comments. If you haven't already, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, follow us on our socials, and consider checking out our Patreon page. As always, thanks for watching, and may the Force be with you.